So just to tell you a little bit about the program and who is on this call here. So our Case Scholars program has a large leadership team that crosses the institutions between Children's and UC. I am Meg Zeller. I am the PI and director currently of the program. I'm a professor of pediatrics. I'm a psychologist by training, and a clinical researcher. Most of my funding has come from NIDDK and NIDA. And below me on this chart is Moises. So Moises, do you want to introduce yourself? I know you just took yourself off camera.
Yeah, no, sure. Thank you. Yeah, hello, everyone. I serve as Associate Director for the Case Scholars Program. I am based at Department of Internal Medicine in the College of Medicine over here at UC. And I was a Case Scholar a few years back, and most of my research is currently funded through NIH grants as well as industry.
Thanks. And Krista, do you want to put a face to your name?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Krista Metz, and I'm the program director of KL2 operations, meaning that I handle most of the administrative things that keep the program going. So you'll hear a lot from me. I'm a good point of contact if you have questions. I'll try my best to answer them. And if I can't, I will find the person who can answer them for you.
And then the rest of the folks on the slide, we have Dr. Bowers, who is from Children's, and her role is to be the consult person and the point of entry for you to learn about CCTST resources. And her area of expertise is in biostats and epidemiology. So she often meets with case scholars individually. But we will make her available to applicants as they move through the application process to guide you if you need consults for your stats in particular, or what resources might be helpful to you. And we'll get to that in a minute. Jackie Napke, Dr. Napke is at UC. She's part of our evaluation, leads our evaluation. So we are monitored, we're a grant. And so we write annual reports responding to our funder NCATS. And so we track scholars for a long time and track outcomes. So that's one thing she leads, but she also does our evaluation of our program and from the scholars giving us feedback. And moving forward, we're going to do a little bit more about mentors and evaluating mentors and using those data to improve relationships when needed. Jamila Hackworth, Dr. Hackworth is at Children's, and she is our Associate Director of Diversity and Vitality. And then we have two of the MPIs of the CCTST, Dr. Khan and Dr. Vagal, who are part of our leadership team. They provide oversight. And Dr. Vagal actually is a former case scholar as well. Jessica or Krista, you can hop ahead. So what is the Case Scholars Program? It's an institutional K Award program. We are focused on training the next generation of diverse, multidisciplinary, clinical and translational scientists under the mission of the NIH National Center for Advancing Translational Science, or NCATS. In our materials, if you haven't sort of clicked all the links yet, we provide increasingly are providing information about NCATS and what their goals are for us, and the program we're continuing to develop over time, but it's really focused on folks who are interested in learning about translational science, and their program of research that they're building fits within that. In terms of who we are looking for, we're looking for early career MD or PhD faculty. So it's not a physician scientist program by any means. We welcome PhD applicants. And it is a mentored training step leading to an NIH Career Development Award, the Ks. Some people use it as a mini K as a step to an R instead. Or their equivalents. And what we like to highlight here is that we look for applicants who really need this mentored training step. And that's sort of a different kind of grant to write, right? You're admitting, I need more training. I want more career development. You're acknowledging their gaps, and we all have them. And this is a way for you to, an award that would allow you to get more mentoring around those things in a more structured way. It's important to note, and we do this in red in a couple places, the Case Scholar program is part of the CCTST. Both of our grants did well at study section, but are pending council review. So we are very hopeful of renewals of both awards, but we have to be straight or upfront that we may be in a time delay of some sort. But we've had commitment from the institution to support the program if we have to resubmit. We're hoping we don't have to, but that's where we stand, and we can answer questions about that in a bit. The key aspects of the program, the part everyone likes best is the 75% salary support, or up to, and these dollar amounts might change in the new funding year, increase is what I mean. But salary support, 75%, or up to 102.2, depending on what your salary is, for 2 consecutive years. And we work with your division to have them ensure that there's a 3rd year of support if needed. You will participate and develop both tailored and experiential learning opportunities for yourself that match the gaps that you've identified. We have 2 meetings a month as a group that includes program alumni and cross-institutional faculty, where you present your work or where you have speakers or alumni come and talk about their career paths. And I think one of the core pieces of what scholars like the most is that there's great opportunities for networking among the cohort that you're working with and learning about other people's science, but also disseminating at the national level via our ACTS meeting and scholars at other CTSA hubs. And, you know, we all hope that our Case Scholars develop skills towards a sustainable and impactful research career in translational science. And increasingly, our language is focused on improving health outcomes for all people and communities. And we're missing a word there, faster. The idea being we need to move the research process faster by working in teams, and you each will develop areas of expertise and learn how to work with others to get things to people faster. And Moises, I'll do this one as my last slide. There's 2 types of awards, but the program is the same. So each year, we will be appointing 2 to the NIH award and 2 to what we call the CT2 program, or the Clinical and Translational award, that's funded through agreements between Children's Hospital and UC. So the program is the same, the funding stream is different. Both are 2 years appointment, both have the same salary support, both have the same research costs, and both will have a 3rd year supported by the division or department if the KRR is not obtained. Again, the K-12 is pending. We are hopeful, but the institution has agreed to support us appointing 2 scholars in an interim. So just hold tight as we navigate all this. All right, I'm gonna, Moises, it's yours.
Okay, thanks, Meg. So in terms of candidate eligibility, research or healthcare professional doctoral degrees or its equivalent. So as Meg mentioned, MD, PhD degrees will make that eligibility criterion. Then being a U.S. citizen or non-citizen national, or have legal admission into the U.S. as a permanent resident. That's basically saying having a green card, right? And then the other point is must have a full-time faculty appointment at the rank of instructor or assistant professor at UC, CCHMC, or the Cincinnati VA Medical Center at the time of the award notification, which is usually planned by January. In this case, will be January 2025. And the appointment cannot be contingent upon the receipt of this award. That's important. And then we encourage applications from scholars of diverse backgrounds, including discipline, college institution, gender, race, and ethnicity. And we have been very successful, I think, at having a very diverse group of scholars, which brings a different perspective to the regular meetings that we have. So it's very enjoyable to grow together in such a diverse group.
Moises, there was a
Yeah.
question that I think would be easy to answer right now. Sorry to
Yeah, go
interrupt.
ahead.
The question in the chat is, are current residents or fellows eligible to apply?
Yeah, no, you will need to have either a instructor or assistant professor appointment by the time of the award, which is January 2025. So I would think that if you're talking about current residents or fellows right at this time, then the answer will be no. Yeah. Right.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, and next one. Selection restrictions. Faculty member who is already in the process of applying for a mentor career development grant, internal or external, or R1 grant, is likely too senior for the award. And specifically, who will be the investigators who are not eligible for this career development award will be former or current PIs of any NIH research project grant that will be considered a independent research award, such as an R01, P01, P50. There are some exceptions there, as you can see. Most of the small grant or exploratory grants, such as R03, R21, R43, R44 are exceptions. So if you have had any of these grants, you are eligible to apply for the K Scholars program. Please check with the K Scholars Director before applying if there are any questions about any of these selection restrictions, and other support documents showing pending awards will be requested before appointment. And these are the required elements that you are probably familiar with by now, since most of you probably review the LOI announcement. So there is a phase page, which is very standard. If you have ever submitted any other internal grants, it's internal or external grants, it's very standard. Then there is a one-page LOI, which different from other applications. We want to make sure that you elaborate some on your career development objectives, not only your research plan for the particular project, but also your career development objectives. And sometimes that means, that maybe from one page, it could be, a 50-50 distribution, you figure it out, but just make sure that you include your career development objectives. So what are your career goals? What are you planning what skills, what knowledge, what additional abilities you're planning on getting through the K program guided by your mentoring team. And then the mentoring team, I think we may have another slide about this, but we're moving away from having one mentor to having a mentorship team that hopefully goes across the different dimensions or the spectrum of translational science. And that's also one of the documents that is expected in the LOI application, your BioSketch, which is a NIH format BioSketch, other support. There is a diversity questionnaire There is a checklist just to make sure that you hit all the documents that you need to submit. And of course, you will need to be a CCTST member. If you're not a member yet, that's very easy to fix. The link is over there to register. And then there is a resource checklist, and the submission is through CCAPS, which is also a very user-friendly system that will you will need to, there will be instructions there. Most of the times it's a single PDF file that you will need to put together with all your documents. Next one. Okay. Mike, do you want me to go through this one or?
I'm happy to do it if you want me to. So as Moises already pointed out, we're moving from just having a primary mentor to a translational mentorship team. And so this is a snapshot of a document you'll be filling out. You may have already looked at it. We describe why it's important. And your primary mentor, though, there's got to be someone leading you. So the primary mentor must be approved by us. That's also in this document. There is the process is very straightforward, where the primary mentor submits their CV and bio sketch and details their history of mentoring, and they get put on a list. And then the list is important. It's not necessarily a place to find a mentor from the list. The CCTST actually has a way to search for mentors, I believe, through one of their links. But it's important to have sort of a lead mentor on your team. And then we also want you to look for other areas of expertise that are part of the translational science spectrum. So we offer you the opportunity to add people to your team, and we ask you to just note what the expertise area is. And if you're proposing a clinical trial, one of those mentors needs to have clinical trials expertise. Go ahead. Sorry. Krista, why don't you take it?
We wanted to highlight that there are some changes to the LOI RFA, like outlined in that former slide. We have a resource list to educate you about different CCTST resources. So this is really helpful if you're new to the CCTST and kind of want to know what we offer. So you can go through there. There's contacts, how you access services, and things of that nature. If you want to request services in Research Central, you can. This is also new for us. We've got now a little box that says K Scholars Career Development Award Program, and you can select if you're a potential letter of intent applicant. You can get the RFA as well as the resource list that's also in the RFA. Or just if you want more information, you've got other questions and you want to meet with me or you want to meet with the directors, you can check that and it'll go to me and I can see what your questions are and kind of help you navigate that. And then if you move on to the full application phase, you could come back to Research Central, check that you're a full application applicant, get a little bit of a different resource list as well as a different RFA, and then potentially meet with our K-12 Hub Navigator for consultation, who can provide a consultation regarding available resources with a CCTST to optimize your research proposal and training plan, including information on renewal vouchers and statistical support. And this is the K Scholars application timeline. We released the RFA in June. The one-page letter of intent is we're accepting beginning July 15th through August 16th. And then after that, we'll have a committee review, decide who we're going to invite for full applications, and we'll send those notifications out the week of September 9th, as well as the declines. And then you'll be asked to submit your full application by November 15th. Excuse me. Another committee review for the full applications. The finalists are selected, and then we'll set up interviews with the directors the week of January 6th. And then we'll make final decisions on who we want to invite into the program. awarding the week of January 13th, and we'll be providing critiques for that too. This award would begin April 1st, 2025, as long as we don't have any issues with the renewal of the CCTST award. Obviously, it's very contingent on that, so there could be a potential delay in that funding start, but that's what we have done in the past. And then resources, we're going to have a second virtual application Q&A session on July 31st. If once you get into the document, you're like, man, I have all these questions that I didn't have before. You can connect and virtually meet with Meg or Moises, or even me if you have other questions about the application process, mentor approval and submission. There's also case scholars listed on our website, prior awardees who can provide more information. I find that a lot of people that come into the program have reached out to previous case scholars to find out, you know, what were the bumps in the road and applying, and, you know, just in general, how to go about putting together a submission. And so my 2 words of wisdom that I will give you for the LOI is write to the RFA. You know, we're interested in hearing about your career development. Like Meg said, you know, we want to know what sort of training you need, and we want to know how we can best provide that. So, you know, what resources do you need to accomplish that? What CCTST resources do you need to accomplish that? And then additionally, as far as the other support goes, we want to know what you have pending. I find in a lot of applications, people don't put the things that they've applied for but haven't heard back on. We want to know kind of where you're at in your career trajectory, and that's important to us to know, you know, what you've applied for and where you stand, so we can make sure that you continue to be eligible for our program.